has some pretty amazing historical buildings, historical homes, things like that. And if you have any interest at all in those historic buildings or possibly preserving your home, January is a perfect time to visit the Polk County History Center. Joining me today is Murtis Young with the Polk County History Center. Welcome to the show today.
Thank you, Tina.
January is a big month for the History Center. It's Preservation History Month. Why don't you go ahead and tell me where that kind of came from?
You know, it's an interesting thing. Just about the first week I arrived on the scene at the History Center, and that was 4 years ago. We had people coming to the History Center inquiring about their historic home or properties they had purchased, and they wanted to find out how to find out information, both factual information, records, and then social history about their home. And it just, these requests just kept coming and coming. So we thought, what a great idea. You know, we consider ourselves to be a center for research and historical information. So we decided that we would put together a series of workshops to help property owners or people interested in historic preservation projects navigate around county records and historical records to get the information they were seeking in order to get the story about their historic property. So with that, we decided to mark January as our Preservation Celebration Month to do, in fact, just that, celebrate historic preservation.
And with that, the idea was born to have a pretty interesting series of workshops coming up and a lunch and learn and quite a few events just all tied together about historic preservation. Why don't you tell us about that workshop series?
Okay, there are four phases or components to the workshop. We're going to start on January 10th, and that workshop will give our viewers and our attendees an opportunity to hear and learn about how to navigate around county records. Our speakers will include a panel of very esteemed, distinguished speakers and representatives from the county, including our Clerk of Court, Stacey Butterfield, and of course her presentation will be about researching the Clerk of Court's records to find out information about title to your properties or properties of interest. It will also include a representative from Joe Tedder's, the tax collector's office, and that will be Kira Hans, and she will talk about the records that are available through the tax collector's office. Then we'll move into the property appraiser's records and what's available there, and Sharonda Knight will take us on a journey on how to research information available from the property appraiser's office. Then it's interesting, if you just run into a dead end with the records that are available around the county, then we also have an attorney who will be a part of that panel, and that's going to be Lori Ann Cicerelli. And Lori Ann will talk about where you go and the next step if you haven't found what you need through the property appraisers or the tax collectors or the Clerk of Court's records, where you go next in your search. So that panel will help people with the legal records and determining legal research. The next workshop takes you to a different level of research, and that's the workshop that's on January 17th. That workshop will help people learn how to use our libraries, our special collections, and of course the records, the historical records at the Polk County History Center, and learning about, I'd say more about the social history of properties. If there are newspaper articles or stories that were written or articles or important documents that may be on record that would lend a little bit of the history or the story of your historic property. So that will include a staff or also a panel of people, representatives from the History Center, as well as Gladys Roberts with the Library Cooperative. And that should also be a very interesting workshop to continue your research into your historic property.
Absolutely. And on that same day is the architectural tour.
That's correct. Thank you so much for mentioning that. That day is our normal it's our normal architectural tour day, and so we thought that it would tie in nicely to the workshop, and this will be a family-friendly tour that day, so it will include our young learners. So we'll get them started early on in their appreciation for historic preservation.
Absolutely. And then comes the lunch and learn that is preservation themed.
The Lunch and Learn this month, or for the month of January, will be focused on a particular project. And for us, I think it's probably one of the most important historic preservation projects in the county. Representatives who were involved in the restoration of the Polk County History Center, the 1908 courthouse, will take us back on the journey of the restoration of that project. We have some photos of the before and after photos, and this will give our Lunch and Learn participants an opportunity to go back and go through that historic restoration project.
That's great. And then, of course, the last and final workshop.
We are so excited about that. The last workshop, January 31st, will include a discussion by Tom Hammer. And Mr. Hammer is the historic architect who was in charge of the restoration of the 1908 courthouse. Mr. Hammer will be on site that day, and he will talk about his involvement in the restoration of a very beautiful public building. And then he will conclude that workshop with a tour. So he actually will take the participants on a tour through the courthouse, and they'll learn about the excitement of finding walls and finding original ceilings and little surprises that occurred here and there. So it'll be a great opportunity to walk through the courthouse and hear firsthand from the architectural firm who actually did the restoration project.
That's absolutely amazing. I mean, there's going to be so many opportunities to learn this month, and I know I love different historic buildings and things like that, so it'll be a really interesting time. In addition to those events, then you of course have your regular scheduled book club coming up.
We have our book club continuing with our theme, Let's Talk About It, as we commemorate the sesquicentennial of the Civil War. We will be discussing on the first 2 Tuesdays of the month Lincoln's Boys, and that continues our opportunity to learn and study a little more about that period in our history.
So if for some reason somebody can't attend these events, what are you going to be doing?
Oh, Tina, we have a wonderful opportunity for the citizens of the county or visitors who would like to learn more about this, even if they can't be available. The workshop is brought to us, it's sponsored in part by the Division of Historical Resources, and through that grant we will be able to produce a brochure that will have this information available long term. But more importantly, PGTV will be filming all the workshops, and a part of the workshop or all the workshops will be available on demand for a very long period of time. So if you're doing some research and weren't able to attend, you can go on demand and find the information that was presented through PGTV.
So it sounds like a very exciting month at the History Center. Thank you for coming today. As always, it's a pleasure. And don't miss out on the events at the History Center this month. Again, it's Historic Preservation Month at the History Center. To attend these events or any other information, you can contact the Polk County History Center. They're located at 100 East Main Street in Bartow. Their telephone number is 863-534-4386, or you can visit them on the web at www.polkhistorycenter.org.